Welcome aboard the Wedding Empires podcast with yours truly, Jack Bowie, where we plunge into the depths of creativity, entrepreneurship, and the love-infused world of weddings. Each episode, we're going to unpack strategies, insights, and stories that empower you to craft the wedding business of your dreams. Welcome to the Wedding Empires podcast. And welcome back to Wedding Empires podcast. My name is Jack Bowie and I'm the host of Wedding Empires and also the CEO of the Wedding Academy. For those of you who are joining us live, welcome back. Make sure you pop any questions that you have for my next guest in the chat box. I'll be sure to bring them up with her. And without further ado, let me introduce her. Amber Rose Thomas, so lovely to have you with us.
Thank you. I am so thrilled to be here.
Now, Amber, you're very much an expert when it comes to Facebook ads, and Facebook ads are super important to any sort of wedding professional. It's absolutely crucial that we get out there and get noticed on Facebook. Why is Facebook your tool of choice? Why have you made that your niche?
I think I got into Facebook ads primarily because I am a lazy marketer. I like speed. I am like a quick win, instant gratification kind of person. And one of the things I loved about Facebook ads was that once you get them right, you can automate them. They save you a ton of time. And it's just really fun to have something which is essentially working for you as like a marketing assistant in the background, getting out there and reaching people and promoting you all on autopilot. Because a lot of the other ways that we can market our business take a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of outreach and a lot of networking and a lot of creating social media content. So I think the way I got into it when I was learning to market my own business and then doing it for clients was basically just what can we do to reach a lot more people and get out of that echo chamber of our own followers on our own email list and reach more new people, but in like the least effort way possible. And that's how I landed on Facebook ads.
Fantastic. Now, something that Facebook has that's quite unique when it comes to targeting is you can actually target couples who have just got engaged by their relationship status, right? This is something that's super amazing for any kind of wedding professional. So if you can imagine, for those of you who haven't done a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad before, there is an option to target people by their relationship status, and it could be that they've just become engaged, and you can even go further and go engaged between 1 to 3 months ago, 3 to 6 months ago, I think 6 to 12 months ago. So that's incredible. Are there any other, I guess, gold mines when it comes to targeting ideal couples on Facebook ads?
Yeah, there totally is, because even within the wedding industry, like you will all know in terms of how you choose your branding and how you've chosen your business and who your own ideal couple or ideal bride would be, there's a lot of variety between people who are engaged. So you can narrow that down really tightly into the ideal people for you based on what their aesthetic style is, how they interact with other people online, what they're interested in, what their budget is. And the easiest way to do that is just to lean in really hard to the stereotypes of your ideal clients. Like, is it mostly women who are reaching out to you? I would narrow down and just target women. Are your brides nearly always in their 30s, as in not just the people who reach out to you, but the people who actually become a paying customer of yours? Are they all in their 30s? Mostly target people over 30. Are they mostly people who have said, oh, I saw this amazing thing in Elle Decor and this is how I want this photo to be, or this is how I want this floral thing to be? Or are they saying that it was something more niche, or like what is their kind of aesthetic and who else are they following online? And sometimes you can follow those other people, you can, well, not follow, but you can target them with your ads as well. You can say, I want to target women between 30 and 45 who are recently engaged, who also like Elle bridal. I also like people who like rock and roll bride, who, you know, you can narrow it down really specifically. And then even beyond that, you can start thinking about who were they before they got engaged? Like, what were they interacting with before they got engaged? Because that will be like the most historical data that Facebook has when they're following us around the internet. What were they following before that? What fashion magazines were they looking at? What fashion brands were they following? What is their whole aesthetic and what is their vibe and where do they live and all those kind of things? You can put all of that into Facebook and Instagram, which is incredible. And eventually you will build up this really beautiful profile of your ideal, most perfect customer and couple, and you'll hopefully find 20 more of them a month, just by doing Facebook ads to them.
Wow. So I think you're going to agree with me that even before you get on Facebook, it's going to be super important to work out that perfect client avatar, who she is, what she reads. If she's somebody who's obsessed with Vivienne Westwood, we can imagine kind of what kind of bride she's going to be, right? She's not going to be doing a bikini on the beach kind of vibe. I'm just guessing.
Yeah,
so having all that kind of insight from a holistic level of who is this person, or who is this couple, what are they into, that'll just help you really, really, get laser focused when it comes to your targeting on Facebook ads. Now, what about ad formats and placements? Do you have any tips around that to really help wedding businesses convert with their Facebook ads?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things I love about the wedding industry and working with people in the wedding industry is just how gorgeously aesthetic the whole industry is. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous to spend time in. It's just stunning. And so you really want to lean into those placements, which do really highlight that, because there are loads of other businesses out there that don't have that as a benefit to their business. Like me as a business coach and as an ads expert, not much pretty aesthetic Pinterest vibes going on around here. Like, most of my stuff is very data focused. I'm like the personal brand piece. I don't have stunning photography or anything from my work. So I don't have any of that. So you do. So really lean into that. And since Facebook bought out Instagram, any ad you run on Facebook will go on Instagram as well. So I would really lean into like the stories, reels, if you can bear to make them, anything that is super visual in that sense. But I would say the cheapest ones are nearly always the feed posts, because that's where we spend most of our time, is just scrolling through the newsfeed. And so that is, I find, the cheapest one to do if you are not doing reels. So reels first and then the newsfeeds.
Now, do you think there's a place for Facebook ads at every level of the funnel? I mean, I feel like definitely when it comes to brand awareness, Facebook's an absolute must. Mm-hmm. But what about when it comes to converting leads and traffic? Like, talk to me about, I guess, how you like to approach those parts of the funnel with Facebook ads.
For sure. So in the same way that I love thinking about who your ideal bride is and then what that experiences for them once they become engaged, like what blogs and what magazines are they being drawn to in terms of deciding about your targeting, you want to think about that same thing and just really lean into the imagining what that experience is like from someone from never having heard of you to signing your contract and officially booking, and what is happening during that period. They're going through the research time. They stumbled across you. They probably saw you as like one of 10 tabs they had open if they found you via Google. So they vaguely know who you are. Maybe they stumbled across a post of you on Instagram or something, and then they're narrowing down their choices. Now they're revisiting things. Now they're thinking about it. Now maybe they've spoken to you, and now they have to make a final decision. And so all the way through that process, you can think about, well, how could ads support me in this? And so at the very top of the funnel, it's, I want them to meet me for the first time. And that is where you're really going to worry about the, how can I find my ideal people with all those interests? Because that's what we refer to as like your cold audiences, as in they've never heard of you before, brand new people at the very top. But then once they've met you, they're no longer in that group anymore. You have some kind of relationship with them because they've seen you somewhere. So now you can start retargeting those people, because something else that Facebook does beautifully is you can retarget people who have started following you on Instagram, people who have engaged with any of your posts, people who have visited your website, people who have watched part of a video of yours, people who have liked your Facebook page. There's a massive amount of options there as well, just in terms of how you can retarget
Yep.
people. And so then you can go, okay, well, they've met me the first time. Now I want them to see this like case study or an example of my work. Now I want them to see this post which has a testimonial from someone. Now I want them to see this post which tells them that my dates for 2024 are booking up and I'm now booking 2025. Or even considering the wedding industry, I'm nearly booked for 2025, start booking 2026. You know, it can go really quickly. And so then in the final
Yep.
piece, it might be, hey, come and book a call with me. I've opened up my Tuesday afternoons for calls with my couples. Come and book a call. Or, hey, I'm exhibiting at this wedding fair. You should come and see me. And so you can basically follow up with them and put the things you want them to see in front of them using Facebook ads. Because when we publish stuff on Facebook or Instagram, such a small percentage of our followers actually get to see our stuff. Whereas the great thing with ads is you can almost guarantee they're going to see it because you're paying to put it in front of them.
So I think you're going to agree with me that it's probably the best to sort of have a variety of campaigns with different objectives. So something at the top that's going to, you know, get the name out there, get the brand awareness, or as I like to call it, build demand. And then something to later send people to the website. Not only do you want them to look at the website, but you want to, you know, track those people and be able to retarget them later. So, but then once you've done that retargeting piece is super important, right? And that's where you're really going to do those lead ads. I think it's interesting to point out, I love using Google Ads in conjunction with Facebook ads, because I think that for everyone apart from that retargeting group, you're presenting an ad in front of a newsfeed and they're not necessarily looking for a wedding planner, for example, in that moment, right? They're on their newsfeed, they're browsing for another reason altogether, and your ad's been put in front of them. Whereas on Google Ads, they're kind of, you know, in Google searching for your service. So that sort of conversion action seems to be a lot quicker. But I can't help but think altogether, that's like, you know, the secret ingredients, right? All together is using, I think, those two together, but really focusing on Facebook for that brand awareness piece, getting it out there, getting maximum eyeballs, getting the traffic to the site, and then using it for retargeting. Would you agree with me that that's kind of a good way to approach maybe those three parts of the funnel?
Yeah, I love layering, and I think it's so important to do that. And I think you can start at different points depending on where you're at in your business. I mean, if you've had your business for a while, then you might want to start with a targeting ad, which is at the very end of the funnel, where it's like, who has come to visit your website, who's gone and visited your booking page, but just didn't actually book. Let's retarget those people and kind of get the ones that were closest to booking just over the line. And so then if you are newer, you might want to do the first piece, which is getting people interested in you in the first place. And Google is lovely for that. And I love how you mentioned that Google ads are perfect when you've got people who are actively searching for a wedding planner and for that thing. And I love layering them because people are in a different frame of mind in each place. So on Google, they are searching for a wedding planner, they're searching for a wedding photographer, they're in that moment. But you're also being presented next to 10 of your other competitors. You're being assessed next to all the other options. You're within that context. Whereas at least when you're in the social media newsfeed, you're up against a cat video and some makeup tutorial and some other random things. And so you're kind of being seen on your own, and you've got exclusive space for someone to think about you and your work without comparing it to another wedding photographer up here and another wedding planner down here and another person down here. You know, you're on your own in that space, which sometimes is a massive benefit. So I think if you have a bit of both,
Yep.
you get the best of both. And also when people have left Google, or they have kind of forgotten about you because you're one of 15 tabs they had open, when you retarget them with Facebook ads, you get to kind of follow up with them in a way that you couldn't otherwise, because you don't know who's visited your website. They're anonymous website visitors, but at least Facebook will find them and go and follow up with them for you.
Amazing. So how crucial do you think ad copy is when it comes to Facebook ads?
A lot. Crucial, yes, 100%. But the fun thing is if we think about a Facebook ad, is how do we interact with it? And I don't know about you, but when you see something on your newsfeed, you see the image first. That's the first thing, and then you might read like the headline, especially if it's on Facebook, because they show up a little differently. So let's talk about a Facebook ad, because with that you have the image, you have the headline, and then you've got the copy at the top. And so the way we interact with it is we look at the image and go, "Oh, that looks pretty. That looks interesting." Then we'll read the headline just to kind of get an idea of, is this even relevant to me, or is this just happened to have caught my eye, but actually it's no good? And then the last thing you look at is the copy, and that is the thing that's going to get someone to click. So the image is going to stop someone scrolling, the headline is going to get someone to click on that little see more button to read all your copy, and the copy is what's going to get them to actually click on your ad and get them over to your website or your booking page or something else. So that essentially has the most important job of the entire thing, is to get them to do that. And the other thing which is really important about your ad copy is essentially not pre-vetting, but pre-qualifying your couples, in terms of, you want to make sure that that doesn't just say, whatever kind of wedding you're having and whatever kind of budget you're having, I can help you.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. You want to say, I build amazing experiences for these kind of people in these places with this aesthetic. If you want like super light and airy and pastels and soft, I'm your girl. Or if you want super deep and dark and like witchy vibes, I'm your person, and the same provider will not want to do both usually. So you want to really lean into, this is who I am, so that the people who do actually click are way more likely to be the right person. Because once you start running ads for a while, you'll start to kind of follow your data. You'll start to look at how many clicks you got, and you'll really get into the details, and it gets more fun at that point because you can see how well they're performing. And then you'll start learning, well, okay, if I talk about this, I get way more clicks than if I talk about this. And also, if you have a super broad ad copy, half of those clicks are going to be useless to you because they weren't actually the right people. So the copy has such an important job of pre-qualifying people, but also being super persuasive in terms of giving people a reason to come over and check you out now, instead of just going, interesting, and scrolling on. So yeah, copy is important.
If you're in the business of making dreams come true, listen up, because the Wedding Academy is your ticket to success. Running a wedding business isn't always a walk down the aisle. It takes skill, savvy, and a whole lot of know-how. That's where the Wedding Academy swoops in to save the day. Imagine easy-to-follow certificate courses taught by industry pros, covering everything from wedding styling to floral design to even marketing and business for any kind of wedding business. All Wedding Academy courses are 100% online, self-paced, and come with ongoing training and support to keep you up to date. And here's the cherry on top. I've wrangled up an exclusive deal. Just punch in the code PODCAST when you enroll, and bam, you'll score a sweet 5% off any course. Ready to take your wedding business to the next level? Then head on over to the Wedding Academy today at weddingacademyglobal.com. Don't forget to plug in that code PODCAST to check out with your special discount.
Now, I've got to ask, have you got any quick tips when it comes to using ChatGPT to generate that copy? Like, have you got any kind of command prompts or instructions that you think will help people when creating copy in conjunction with ChatGPT?
Yes, and my top tip for ChatGPT is, do not ask it to write your ad copy. And that doesn't mean don't use ChatGPT. It just means, do not say, please write ad copy for a Facebook ad for a wedding photographer in Victoria. Don't do that. Instead, you want to use ChatGPT as like a second brain and a research assistant. So go and put in and say, okay, this is who I am. This is who my ideal person is. And this is you writing your prompt. This is the kind of thing I want to book. Give me 10 reasons why someone would hire me. And then they come out with a bunch of reasons, and then say, give me 10 reasons why someone would not want to hire me. Okay, great. And then you've got all of this information which you can pull through and go, okay, so if they wouldn't want to hire me for these reasons, what can I put in my ad copy which is going to alleviate that? So for an example, you might have item 3. They might not hire you because you're out of their budget. Okay, then maybe I should put in my ad that my packages start from this point, so people have an idea of what's realistic. But equally, if you have said, I target DIY bride who wants some extra support and helping to plan their wedding and get everything on the best budget, then you might want to make sure you're mentioning that and saying that you'll support them and helping them save money so they can reserve their budget for the things that matter to them. But equally, if you tend to work with like luxe, high budget weddings, one of your objections that ChatGPT might spell out is, can I trust this person to deliver my vision? Because it's not really about the money anymore. It's about executing on the vision that they have. And then that's something you want to put in your ad copy. So ChatGPT is an absolutely genius research assistant, and it will come up with a whole bunch of stuff for you. But if you ask it to write ad copy, it will just go, here's a random thing with no thought, because you haven't asked it to take that step of thinking for you.
All right. So what about kind of new features or updates in Facebook ads? Is there anything that you can kind of tell us about that might be good to look into as a wedding professional?
For sure. So there's a couple of things, but I would say that in general, if we talk about the ads manager, they don't roll out interesting new stuff, which in my opinion is actually useful on a very frequent basis. They make lots of little like user interface updates, because this is kind of separate to your question, but I think it's important, is that Facebook is very aware that they get all of their money from people advertising. They want you to come and spend money on their advertising platform, and they want more businesses to run ads. And they also know that the biggest objection that people have to doing that is they have made it so confusing that people don't want to run ads, or they do, but they have to hire someone to do it for them because they have made their platform so confusing.
Yeah.
So they keep rolling out things like Advantage. If you've been in the ads manager recently, you'll notice this little word advantage all over the place, which is Facebook's response to that by saying, we will make decisions for you, and we will make your ads beautiful for you, and we will fix everything for you. Trust us. And if anyone has ever had to get on live support chat or had a call with a Facebook rep, you will know that they know a lot about the platform. They know where everything lives. They know how everything works. They are geniuses when it comes to the technical side of it. They know nothing about marketing strategy. They know nothing about sales psychology. They know nothing about funnel strategy. They haven't got a clue. And so in terms of the new features that Facebook tends to roll out, I would say be healthy skeptical of that stuff, because they're doing it from the perspective of they want you to spend more money, not necessarily that they want you to get better results from your ads. So be skeptical of that, but do pay very close attention to the native like the native platform rollout. So for an example, when Instagram brought out Reels and when they brought out carousel posts, every single one of those placements will become an ad placement as well. So you want to keep an eye on those kind of things, actually, more than you want to worry about the ads manager rollouts, because all of those interesting, fun, creative things, you can now make as an ad. Like if you imagine the first month after Reels became a thing, if you were the only person in the wedding industry running Reel ads and all these people were out there going, oh my goodness, Reels, this is so exciting, and you were the only person advertising, what would that have done for your business? So try to be an early adopter when those kind of things roll out, but don't worry so much about staying up with the news on the ads manager platform, because it probably isn't worth it.
Okay. Have you got any unconventional approaches to Facebook ads that have yielded some great results for you?
Yeah, I think my unconventional thing is actually something that you probably do already and love, is the whole layering aspect of how you think about your marketing.
Yep.
Because a lot of people think of ads in terms of, I'm going to run this single campaign for like brand awareness and get people to know me. I'm going to run this single campaign to get people to sign up to my free guide on how to do this and get people on my email list. And they think about things in a very siloed way of, I'm going to run this campaign and this campaign. Whereas my kind of secret method of doing that is to kind of layer them up. So campaign 1 is getting people to know you. Then you retarget anyone who actually came to visit you from that campaign. So as you mentioned, that you can target people who are engaged within the last 3 months. I want you to target people who came to your website within the last week. But then what do you want them to see after that? So then I want you to retarget people that met you within the last week to 2 weeks, but give them something different. And then retarget the people that found you within the last 2 weeks to 3 weeks, and then give them something different. So you're basically designing this timeline of content of what you want people to see from you, ideally going all the way from your like headline, most beautiful content to more about who you are as a person, more of your work, testimonials from your clients, come and book a call with me. Hey, here's my availability. Hey, here's the incentive I'm currently running for my sales. And so people are seeing it all in that process, because if you are showing loads of random people, hey, I'm getting booked up for next year, most people aren't going to care. Okay, random person on the internet is nearly booked. Good for you. Carry on scrolling. Whereas if you were reaching out to the people who have actively been following you or researching you or considering working with you, and you tell them you're getting fully booked up for the next year, they're going to care.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where you want to decide where your ads go to and who you're reaching out to, and maybe think about it from the perspective of, why would they care about this thing? Because ultimately they don't. Not yet. And so you have to kind of give them a reason to. And so that's my favorite way of running ads, is to layer things and try and essentially recreate that serendipity of finding someone and going, amazing, these people are perfect, this is exactly what I wanted. And then you follow them and you see more of their content and you eventually book them.
Great. And I think you're going to agree with me. Get it all on paper first, right? Before you start building your ads. Map it out. You know, this is...
Yeah. Get it all on paper, map it out, have a look through it, and think about it from the perspective of the person that you want to book. What are they going to see? Are they in this audience? All of that. And maybe even run it through with like your last 5 paying clients, the ones you actually loved and would happily have worked with again, not the nightmare ones, ignore those. But think about the ones that you loved and kind of go, would they have been in this audience? Do they fit that criteria? Would they have liked this post? Would they have seen this? And kind of think about that and go, if that works, if your plan works for the people who have previously booked you, you're probably on the right track.
Now, you mentioned something about client testimonials. I'm keen to hear if you've got any ideas around how you can utilize user-generated content into your Facebook ad strategy.
Yeah, for sure. So I want you to think about the kind of content that you like engaging with, because I love looking at user-generated content because it feels more real to have someone saying, oh my goodness, look, I just got my photos back from my photographer. Look how beautiful they are. And I'm way more likely to look at that rather than look at my beautiful photos that I just did for my client. And technically the content's the same. It's just coming from a different angle. And so if you have a really good relationship with your clients, and follow up sooner rather than later, like do it within the time window that people are still excited about it rather than they've forgotten about it and moved on and been busy. If you just give them prompts, they will happily create that stuff for you, and then you can use it in your advertising as long as they've given you permission. So think about not just Emily was great, thanks so much kind of testimonials, because that's what we expect to see all over any kind of review.
Yep.
But try to kind of pull out the ones about how you made people feel and try to get specifics. And one thing I would highly recommend you do, which isn't even ads related, is making sure you have built into your business a way of getting those testimonials, particularly with feedback forms. And sometimes it's better to send the feedback forms multiple times, as in one thing my photographer did, which I thought was genius actually, because I got married 18 months ago, so I still consider myself a newlywed. I don't know how long I'm allowed to call myself a newlywed, but I'm owning it for now. One thing I loved was that about 2 weeks after the wedding, they sent a form and said, hey, I'm working on all of your photos and I'm about to send over your like preview ones. Would you mind filling out this form for me about how we did on the wedding day and anything else you noticed? And so I was kind of keen to stay in communication with this person, so I happily filled it out. And it was things like, did I do a good job of wrangling your family members? Anything you noticed? Did I do a good job of staying out of your way so I wasn't interrupting the flow of the day? Tell me anything you noticed. Because then I noticed that when she used all of that information and put it into social media, she quoted me saying things like, my grandmother is completely oblivious to the world and just wanders around in a will of her own. And Natasha did a fantastic job of making sure she was where she was supposed to be and looking in the right direction. Her in a photograph.
I love that.
And that was brilliant, because if you've got any brides out there who are like, my biggest worry about the wedding day is the group photos, because my family is just like herding cats. This is going to be terrible. Yeah. It's going to take an hour and a half. I'm dreading it. Having a photographer who says, I am the best cousin wrangler. I will get everything perfect and I will make sure your groupie uncle doesn't get in the way and cause problems. Like, that's the kind of thing you want to see in a testimonial beyond just, yay, they were great.
I love that. Now, listen, Obviously, Facebook ads are your absolute bread and butter. So I would like to know, what are your tools of the trade? What are the things that you use, like software, tools, websites, that make Facebook ads a breeze for you?
Oh, good question. I do use ChatGPT for research. I do use it for that whole purpose of like brainstorm these things for me. Sometimes it comes up with good stuff, sometimes it doesn't, but it often will give you a good starting point. And it's the same thing of like looking at a blank cursor on a page. It's 10 times easier to edit something bad into something good than try and run something good from blank page. So that can really help when it comes to that. The majority of my designs end up going through Canva. My designer uses Photoshop and he does a fantastic job of his graphics. If I'm designing something, it's in Canva. CapCut for video editing. It's very similar to anything you'd use for organic social media in terms of a creation piece. But I personally think the secret weapon is the ads library. And the ads library, you can go to, I think it's facebook.com/ads/library. I'd have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure it's that. If you type ads library into Google, you'll find it. And it's where you can put in the Facebook page of anyone and it will show you what ads they're currently running if they're running ads. So you can type in any other business, any other brand that you think are currently running ads, and it will show you everything they currently have live. So you can spy on other people's ads and see what's currently working and see what they're currently running and get inspiration and other things like that. So if you ever see an ad in your newsfeed and you're like, oh, I wonder what else they're running, you can go and have a look, and that can be really helpful because then you get an idea of what else is out there and what things look like. And sometimes just having a physical example in front of you of what a Facebook ad for your niche or your service would look like can help you come up with more ideas and get your head around how you're going to make that work for you.
Amazing. Oh, thank you, Amber. Look, heaps of little tidbits that I'm going to use even straight away. So thank you so much. Really, really nice learning from you, your Facebook ads tips. Now, for those of you who would like to connect with Amber, find out more about what she does and how she can support your business with your Facebook ads, head to launchwithamber.com. You'll also find her under Amber Rose Thomas on LinkedIn, and her username on Instagram is launchwithamber. Thank you so much, Amber Rose. It's been an absolute joy getting to know you, and I'm sure we'll have you back because Facebook ads are always evolving and we're going to need you to keep us up to date.
This episode of Wedding Empires is brought to you by the Wedding Academy, where you can start and grow your wedding business. We offer certificate courses, group coaching programs, and a whole heap of templates and worksheets and things to help you get started and grow your wedding business. For more information, visit weddingacademyglobal.com. And don't forget to use your 5% discount code PODCAST when checking out.